Hey guys, welcome to our review of Lord of the Rings of Power. It is that time. Kind of snuck up on me.
It did.
September 1st. I was like, whoa, shit, this is already out? Okay. Well, Amazon's billion-dollar show is fucking here. And there's been a lot of talk and controversy up to its release. Do these creators have any freaking idea what they're doing with the Tolkien lore? Is it injecting modern politics? All this kind of stuff surrounding the series. Does it have an interesting story to tell? And so we watched the 2-episode debut. They gave us 2 episodes up front, which is a good thing because so far, I will say the series is motherfucking visually spectacular. Visual.
I do like that.
You can tell that, but well, it better fucking be for $1 billion, right? You can tell the production quality, the costumes, the graphics, the visuals. This is a absolutely beautifully realized Tolkien world. Now, just because it looks beautiful does not necessarily automatically make it good. And that's where we're running into some problems because I felt it had some pacing issues. I felt it had a little bit of, I don't know, a lack of engagingness. Now, I'm all for living in a world, right? Because it does immerse you and it takes its freaking time. And I think because of the time period that they chose where there is a building doom, there is something building, it's a time of relative peace. Gadriel, who is one of our main characters, is convinced that there is still evil out there, waiting, lying, building its power, and will eventually reveal itself. And so she is on this headstrong mission to confront it. And throughout 3, I think, main subplots, we drive that forward. But because each of these 3 stories is doing an extremely slow burn build to it, when you put them all right next to each other and they're all slow burning, you're like, okay, it's taking a while. And so unless you really are leaning much more on the visuals rather than the storytelling and the plot or the pacing, it hasn't quite hooked me yet that I was hoping for, right? You spend $1 billion, you expect your audience to go, wow, that shit was crazy, let's go. Right now, I'm like, I don't know. I guess it could get way more interesting. But right now, I'm just not quite convinced yet that it's going to be a story worth telling. Especially, look, I'm not going to pretend I'm a massive Tolkien lorist and I know all the books. I'm sure Alex has probably read way more than me. But I know that there's interesting stories here to tell. And I hope that this is one of them. So that's kind of where I am on it. I'm tepid. It looks good, but I'm still waiting, show me kind of approach. What did you guys think of the premiere?
I'm in the same boat as you are. I do like it. It seems pretty cool visually. It's amazing, but the pacing on it's very slow, and I don't like how they introduced 3 stories right from the get-go. It's like kind of do 2, 1, kind of flesh out.
I would prefer
flesh
1.
out some of your characters a little bit more, because right now I don't care about any of the characters right now.
Which one would you say you care about the most right now?
If we're including 2, then I would say Durin.
Durin. Oh,
Durin,
well, then
the
that's.
second one.
I guess that's kind of the 4th.
Second one, yeah.
Yeah, all right.
But still ties in with the
Elrond.
Okay. So it kind of right now it's kind of all over the place. But like you said, it's a real slow burn, and I'm still trying to I see the potential, but right now I just don't care about the characters as much as I'm supposed to.
I think the 2 characters I care about the most right now are Elrond and Durin, just like you said.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I like that story, but there's just too much going on, and it's just slow, and it's just disconnecting me.
Okay. Alex, Tolkien
go.
man.
I read all the books.
Yeah.
I even got the new one pre-ordered. I'm ready to go.
Okay.
This is I think that if as like a generic fantasy, this is definitely above average. There's some really amazing visuals. There's all sorts of potential for stuff to happen. The issue I have is am watching this, and then I know these characters really well,
Mm-hmm.
and I know their stories really well, and it's like, wait a minute, that's off, that's off, that's off, that's off. That's constantly, it's like
Oh.
death by 1,000 cuts, where it's like that doesn't make any sense. That's not how this worked.
Oh, really?
And they're adding things. I mean, there's an entire, Harfoots are around, and we're Galadriel's on this like crazy thing. She's a swords. She's one of the most powerful sorceresses because she is, and like that's how it really is. But she's a sword woman now. And
But here she's a soldier commander. Nothing that I've seen makes me believe that she's a sorceress. They make believe she's a ridiculously overpowered soldier.
yeah, she's about to get a ring of power. She eventually gets a ring of power and eventually uses it and becomes like uber powerful. But she spent many thousands of years
I see.
learning stuff,
that.
and I didn't get okay.
Maybe
so like
we're not there yet. Maybe this is the
Yeah,
younger
that's what I was
version.
thinking.
Before. No, we should already be
no,
there.
We should already be at the point where she and I buy that she's powerful, and I'm fine
Right.
if they want to change if they want to change things. The problem is they're changing a lot of little things here and there that it's hard to watch because it's so different. And it's if you want to tell your own story, I'm totally cool with it. There's all sorts of gaps for them to fill in within this period that they could fill in. Why are they changing the things? Like they only have access to very, very little first age stuff. They don't because they can only show things in flashbacks. The state did not let them do any first age stuff. And so
no
they're
first age. You only have second age. Don't touch third age.
yeah, don't touch any of these other things. So
Or
it's
make
like,
references to third age. Fine, we'll approve.
yeah. So I mean, we'll see where it ends up. Like right now, I am we're 2 hours in, and it's not super engaging yet. I don't necessarily love Galadriel and her swimming adventure and her weird motivations and the dumb decisions that she makes.
Right.
And they're setting some things up. I expected the show 2 hours in to be much further along.
Yeah.
There's some really
Yeah.
cool stuff that should be coming up that they kind of sort of like if you've read some of the things is coming, but
I don't know what's coming. You know what's
Nope.
coming, Joe? Obviously, Sauron. The
Lord of
gathering
Gifts-
power.
the Lord of Gifts should-
The forging of the rings.
yeah, like they've hinted at that so far.
Celebrimbor.
I thought for sure we were gonna get like Lord of Gift stuff showing up. Sauron in disguise coming up and he's like, "Hey,
Oh
man."
yeah.
He's going out. He's schmoozing all the elves. He's like, you should make all
That's-
these rings. It'll be super cool. And
That's
Galadriel
meth
go-
head Eminem, maybe.
No, I think
Maybe.
that's a priest of Morgoth, I believe.
Oh, wow.
And so he's supposed to show up and he'd be like, "You should make these rings. It'll be really cool." And then Galadriel goes, "No, fuck that guy. I don't trust him because she can see through."
Yeah.
And then I wanted that to front load so we have tension
Yeah.
and stuff getting to the point. And right
and
now,
then people are on board. Like, all right, you've convinced me. I'll continue watching. Here, it's like, bro, you want me to invest another 4 hours to get me on board? And I think what's happening here is the episodes, they don't feel structured like hour-long episodes. They feel like you're watching an 8-hour movie and you just watched the first part of an 8-hour movie. You know what I mean? And so I guess that's what they're going for. They're doing an 8-hour movie because how many episodes are there? There's 8. There's 8 episodes this season.
that's it.
Yeah.
And these two are the long ones, right?
There's other longer ones
Okay,
as
that's
we
good.
go along, but and towards the end they get even longer. But this is. I think that's why they're treating it as an 8-hour movie because it's so. And they've committed, I think, to 5 seasons. So if it turns out to be season 1 is just fucking lollygagging and boring as shit and frost trolls that show up that have no fucking urgency because it's like, all right, well, I'm glad you
That's
handled
like,
that. It's
damn,
like,
she's good.
damn, boy, why did we even need to bring the rest of you
Exactly.
motherfuckers?
They're just dying.
All right. And then I do like episode 2 has this fucking cool ass live action sea monster attack, which was fun. So they're
It
definitely
needed something to pick it up,
it
though.
fucking needed it. You're
Yeah.
right. And it definitely has some of that. So yeah, I'm in agreement here. Without knowing all the different things that are being changed here. Now, I know the Harfoots are kind of injected here so that the audience feels comfortable and close to what we've seen before. Completely unnecessary.
It is. I
Really,
don't
the
really
only
like that
reason.
story.
I know. The only reason for it is it ties into a mysterious man that drops from the sky as a meteor.
Who could it be?
Gandalf?
It can't be.
I think it's
He comes-
Gandalf.
he comes later.
Randolph.
Unless they're fucking with like serious things, it cannot be
Okay,
Gandalf.
well, aren't they fucking with time anyway? Okay, so, well, if it's not Gandalf, then it is, I think it is a being that is on the level of Gandalf. You basically
Maiar
Maiar, whatever they're called, the
Aren't there like
angels
four
of this
or five
universe.
wizards?
Yeah,
really?
so the blue wizards,
But it could
but those
The
I think the blue.
brown one.
Well, there's there's
Yeah.
Radagast, Saruman.
Yeah.
Radagast.
okay.
It's not
And then-
Radagast. It's not Gandalf.
Yeah.
Most
Yeah.
people are speculating it's not. It could be. It's not Sauron. Don't think it's Sauron.
No.
I don't think that's. But it could be, one of those level beings, or it could be a completely new character
What
that
if
the
it's a
show is making up.
Pre-Balrog.
What? That would be fucking insane. I don't think that's the way. I just assumed
Dead
that Balrogs.
fireflies, evil stuff. What that should be hot wasn't hot. What if he's actually fucking evil?
Interesting. Okay.
You
I
know
think
some
I think
weirdo-
they tease he's evil and they tease the human is good just running from orcs. I think our second mysterious character, this human on Driftwood, that is Sauron, just without understanding who he is or where he came from. So that's what I'm thinking. All right, but anyway, so
would be
let's go into final verdicts. If you want, let's break them out into the episodes since we got 2 episodes. I need your episode 1 rating, then I need your episode 2 rating, and then we'll jump into diving into each one.
Go ahead, Alex.
Man, I have no like. It's weird because if you just watch this as generic fantasy, like I mentioned earlier, like this is above average world building.
It
It's
is.
It's super impressive.
Have you seen Wheel of Time on Amazon?
I stopped watching halfway through.
Me too.
Because
I
it's-
like this more than Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
It might be because it's using the veneer of the Lord of the Rings universe. It definitely feels more visually impressive to stare at. The budget is
Yeah.
quite obviously higher. So I like it more than Wheel of Time, but it has the potential to really fuck it up when you're messing with like Tolkien stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that this is super above average if it was generic fantasy. The issue is like you're talking about how many books that people's expectations, like even people's expectations that come from the trilogy, the 2 trilogies that Peter
Yeah.
Jackson was involved with, and I just think there's a lot of things that feel off about this. And people are complaining about like haircuts and things, and it is. I mean, I'm one of those people look at it and
Yeah,
go like
you
that.
have and I have.
It looks funny. Like, why does he have that? It looks weird to me. And so there's a lot of little things that, as a Lord of the Rings thing, feel off. It is too early. I think the first episode I would say is like average stuff. I think I would give it probably a 5. I was not completely engaged as a Lord of the Rings thing. Everything kind of felt a little bit weird. Episode 2, it
Gets a little better.
gets a little better. It's one of those things that you remember when we watched the Han Solo movie and like the first 30 minutes I'm watching it like that's a fucking Han Solo. By the end of the movie you kind of grow accustomed to it and he's still not Han Solo, but like you see it enough and you start to ignore it. And that's kind of what I felt here is in the second hour it's like, all right, I buy it that he's got a fucking weird haircut and he's got a weird haircut and he's got a weird haircut, fine. So I think I'll go 5 for the first one and a 6 for the second one.
Okay, that's from a Tolkien fan. Let's get the non-Tolkien fan angle here.
I'm between a 5 and a 6. Like I didn't really feel like a Lord of the Rings thing. It felt like a Renaissance, like you were taking place in some kind of
LARPing?
Renaissance.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're all fucking LARPing.
It's just LARPing, and Harfoot don't really care about that story too much, that aspect of it. And the characters, I'm trying to like the characters, but right now I don't care about the chemistry between the elf and what's
His
her name?
woman.
His woman.
Brown, something like that.
Brown,
it's a
yeah.
new character they made up for the series.
Yeah, like right now I'm just like going along for the story. It's like, okay, what's going to happen? But right now I'm not really engaged.
Not hooked yet.
Not hooked, but everything else visually is like I could get on board. I did like the next
Okay,
episode.
episode
so
1 rating first.
Let's go with the 5. Yeah, 5 for the first one.
Okay, average TV.
Average TV for the first episode.
Okay.
Second episode, I did enjoy a little bit more. 6.
Yeah. Okay, my ratings wrote down before y'all's is 6 out of 10 for the first episode. I'm like you, I think it's average, but because of the spectacular visuals and the budget that's clearly on display here, it's nice to revel in the world. It's nice to kind of immerse yourself in the visuals and things. So, but that's about it. Again, not hooked yet. There's potential, and I
Yeah.
see potential, but 6, I think House of the Dragon is a little stronger. And I know people are going to compare, what, you guys, She-Hulk's higher than Rings of Power. It's like,
It's
bro,
completely different.
you're talking about a comedy sitcom, and we're talking about a legendary fucking author's lore here, where Amazon is trying to do a epic fantasy series action series. So, anyways, 6 out of 10 on the first episode. Episode 2, I think we are all in agreement. Slightly better, a little more action, a little more interesting set pieces, things set into motion. We get the worm scene. We get more Durin stuff, which we liked, and then we get an orc attack, sort of the beginnings of some conflict in the world, and that I liked much better, and I'm going with a 7 out of 10 on that one. So I guess an all right start, but when you're spending $1 billion, I kind of expected to be wowed a little bit more. Now, what do you guys think about, Alex has already given his opinion on kind of the differences between the lore. Does it bother you, Joe, that there's far more diversity in the characters, and Durin's wife has no beard? Did this kind of stuff say,
Cowards.
She had a little bit of
fucking
stubble.
out?
She has a
I
little
did
bit,
see
she's
that.
a little bit.
She had
There's a
more
little bit of
face hair than
sideburn.
me. I was a little bit
A little bit of
jealous.
mutton.
I was jealous, man. I was like, man, why
Can't
can't
grow
I?
that either, damn.
No,
Joe.
for me, I don't care about the diversity.
Yeah, I know.
It's fine. It's just like a made-up fantasy world. As long as the characters are played well and believable and everything's not.
So you don't care that there's much more diversity here.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's fine by me.
Okay, so and none of it really takes away, other than the fact. So you got the short hair elves, you get the lack of beard dwarf women, and it sucks initially that it's not the way it is in the lore, but it's something that at least as not a book fanatic, I was able to get over pretty quickly watching it. Though I do it, man, it's like that. It's a coward move, It's like, let's fucking see you go full on,
Full beard cowards.
Right. All right, so that's our ratings for the opening. We're willing, based upon what we've seen here, we're willing to give it a shot and see if it starts to pick up. But there's a potential that Series 1 gets interesting at Episode 8, and that is going to be a fucking shame, you know what I mean? But if they've committed to 5 seasons, then and this is an age of relative peace, they're going to try to push that excuse. But nah, man, you got to get us interested a little more than that. So... Episode 1, we jump right in. Honestly, this Morgoth, we're talking about Morgoth. That shit sounds way more interesting than what's going on here. Sauron's like, I don't know, his little punk bitch that also served, that it kind of fills in the gap of Morgoth. I'm like, I want to know about Morgoth.
First stage.
Why don't you fucking...
No, you don't have rights to it.
Why don't you go into the first stage, goddammit? All right, fine.
Nope.
Second age stuff.
There's like Spider God. There's all sorts of cool stuff happening. We
Yeah.
don't get to talk about any of it.
Yeah, damn it. So Sauron, obviously, is able to kill her brother, or her brother vowed to seek him out and destroy him, and he was not able to do that.
It's such a cool thing. Why couldn't we see any of this shit? He fights a fucking werewolf, an actual werewolf,
I have
and
no
like
idea.
rescues like one of the most important people in all of First Age.
What the
and
fuck?
fights a werewolf, but he rescues, but they're mortal wounds, and he dies later. And there's like, no,
Yeah, we didn't see
fuck you.
none of that
Yeah.
No, we just see like a quick battle. If they would have made
I
that
wanna
battle
see that.
like a little bit longer or something.
No, it has nothing. That's completely different.
think
that's
that's a different-
That's
that's just
completely different.
But
thing.
still,
fighting.
I would
yeah.
that's
Random
still
fighting.
pretty sweet.
So Galadriel is now obsessed, takes up her brother's vow, and she is obsessed with following and finding the evil. You've got
mission
this
now, yeah.
brand that seems to be the brand of Sauron. They go into one of his old holds. She kills a troll very easily. Almost anticlimactically easily, but I know they have to show her off. Very, very powerful. I have no idea what's going on here. Is she just a great fighter, or is she using combined, witch powers?
She's been alive for a long fucking time. Like, and she's from one of the most important bloodlines from her like little tribe of elves. So it's like it's like trying to show the audience like without giving her like her whole biography, that she is crazy fucking powerful, and she
Okay.
should be.
Yeah, and but her soldiers kind of die pretty easy. I would assume that the rest of the elves there would be badasses themselves, but not quite shown. But anyways, they're little bitches. They choose to not follow her any longer. I mean, it's like, bro, like understand that the entire world was fucked. Then y'all fought Morgoth and won. Let's keep at least one battalion filled with
Patrol or something.
zealots who are like, no, we're gonna stamp out all evil. These guys are like, man, we've been out here for months. I'm fucking sick of this. I'm gonna draw
Our
my
contract
sword
has ended.
and throw
I
it
don't
on
need
the
to
floor.
be here.
Truly, it was revealed later on that they are betrayer, yes, and refused to go any further, but they kind of had permission from the king to do it. So that's a little bit of an excuse there. Now we go to the Harfoots. And again, I think the Harfoots are completely unnecessary in this series.
This is the weakest part.
Now,
It's a cool world.
It's
It looks
cool world.
fun.
I love the pop-up city. I love the
Yeah.
fact that they hide. It is basically great to revel in the world that Tolkien has created, right? But in terms of pacing and taking things away and feeling forced, it feels like this is unnecessary. Maybe Nori and Poppy can eventually justify and really find a spot here. But so far, other than the visuals and the coolness of it, as if I'm reading a book, it seems extraneous. So that's what happens there. The moose head guys just walk by and then they're gone.
Travelers, yeah.
They're just travelers. But I've noted here every frame is beautiful. It's just really, really cool. Nori the Harfoot is a brave explorer at heart. She likes to go out from her little troop when her troop is like, no, everybody stay together kind of thing. The king has had enough of Galadriel shit. You know, you're the commander of the northern armies, but shut the fuck up. The war is over, and
Go
I'm
home.
going to reward you with going to Valinor, go to never-ending life, and go home, basically. And Elrond supports this. He encourages her to go and to be healed in the Blessed Realm. They have very fanciful language. I like the writing so far. It's just I wish it was more impactful on some of the things that are happening. I wrote here the cast is immediately more diverse. You see lots of different colors of people. It was an objective of them. They definitely wanted to inject that a little bit more. We have Arondir. This is, I think, a new original character, right, Alex?
Yeah.
He is a elf that seems to be watching over humans. They're kind of like soldiers because humans had previously allied with Morgoth, I think. And so his commander still distrusts humans. Once a human, always a human. Always, weird fucking assholes. And he is starting to fall in love with this girl, something.
Yeah.
And
The
they're
lady?
pairing.
The
The
lady
lady.
in
The pairing
blue.
is discouraged. And
Why? Why would the pairing be discouraged?
because they have not. There's not been a lot of.
Elrond's a half elf.
I don't know.
Elrond's
It's
dad was
just-
like a half
It's
elf. I think
just not done, is what they say.
Yeah. I don't
It ain't
buy
right,
any. I
Alex.
don't buy any.
It
I
ain't
don't buy it
right.
either because
Yeah.
if the elves are spending any time with any hot girls, they're gonna want to, hang out,
Yeah.
Netflix and
Hey,
chill.
what you doing?
Anyways, so
It ends in death, and everyone's like, "What about that guy Elrond, who's got like 10 times the like and-
Elrond's like a badass.
Yeah, and he's like
why are you talking shit?
His entire lineage is the most important people to have like lived through the first age, and they're like, "Nah."
I
fuck
didn't
that
realize
guy.
Elrond was a half elf
Yeah.
or a human, part human. Anyways, Arondir has been stationed over this little area for 79 years, so that's notable. But then they get sent home because the king's like, "Fuck this. There's no threat."
The war's over.
Later on, they show the king understands there's a threat. It's fucking okay, you dumbass. They show a black milk coming out of a cow, fucking
Where was
putrid
it grazing?
shit, and they
On
say
the south side.
somewhere in the fucking.
It's an oil cow.
I forget the
Let's go
name
give
of
it
the
some
place.
American freedom.
Horden.
But,
Horden.
Horden,
It's like,
yeah.
It sound like Hordor.
So they go off
Hodor.
to investigate, and Meanwhile, in the human town, a boy finds a broken sword with a black mark.
Yeah, Morgoth blade.
I had no idea what it was. Morgoth blade. I know it's some kind of artifact or tool left over from the previous fights.
Yeah.
And but we go to the scene with Elrond and the king talking, and the king does know that things exist, that something's there, so it makes no sense. He said, he talks about how Gladriel would kick things up and spread the fire. Wind also has the capability of spreading the fire. It's like, motherfucker, if you know it's there, why don't you go stamp it out before it fucking spreads? It's ridiculous. Why is this elf so stupid? All right. Well, to push the plot forward, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of drama that's like written in this period of time that we could be going to, and instead there's like, let's make everyone stupid.
Yeah. So Gladriel eventually is convinced, I guess, by Elrond. She respects him and her king enough to set sail. This is beautiful. I really like this scene in the first episode. I've always kind of wanted to see where, you see in Lord of the Rings, the Peter Jackson trilogy, the fucking boat flying, driving off, and you're like, oh, man, I want to kind of see what the hell's going on over there. You get to see a little bit more. Now, obviously, you don't get to see inside, but you see a little more. And she is half toe in, half toe out, and she knows something's up and starts walking backwards when the bright light is going on, and her fucking captain's like, come on, like, take my hand. And she's like, nah, fuck this. And so she's
going to swim to Middle Earth is what her fucking
I don't know
plan
how
is.
far
she's
doing?
going to swim.
You have no idea. If I think I've seen the map before. I've watched some YouTube channels and lore channels. Like, that shit is way out there. There's no fucking way she's going to swim all the way back.
Yeah, it's
No.
real fucking far. And like, elves are immune to like sickness and stuff, but not drowning. Like, you can fucking drown.
So that
Well, now we know they're
hilarious.
great swimmers.
They're
I guess
more than great swimmers. They're gods in the water, basically.
Miles and miles.
So we have. Oh, we were also before we were also introduced to Celebrimbor, the forger of the rings, and he meets up with Elrond. They start talking.
very short hair.
But after that, we see a Harfoot who kind of senses trouble in the skies, and the skies are strange, and he senses trouble, and that's where kind of we've got the breakdown of the three stories: the Harfoots, the elves, and the humans / elves forbidden love story are all kind of linked by the meteor that then starts falling from
He's got
the
this
sky.
book, a book of like prophecies, and like already in the book is like this thing of like travelers showing up and then like weird sky stuff coming later, which I don't fucking understand. I guess they're this made up race of people that they injected in the show for no reason.
Harfoots?
Yeah,
Because it was like mentioned in like one line somewhere in there. They're not a major factor in the second.
so
age.
they can just like they have prophecies and they can see the future. Like someone in their lineage can see the future and understands how all this works.
Yeah.
They-
Oh, okay, cool.
They
that's
find Horden city on fire, and
And
I
scene.
and like I said, it was cool to see the elf journey to the afterlife. But the meteor flies through the air, crashes. Around the same time, she decides to jump off the boat. By the way, a lot of really great warriors are now lost. They're gone because they cross over and she exits. So maybe the elves are a little more vulnerable. I don't know. Maybe that's a thing. But the Harfoot girl finds the crash site. And it appears to be a man, or a very tall man, potential giant with fire everywhere. And I like the effects here. The fire kind of dissipates as he notices her. They make a connection, then the fire comes back when he's basically in turmoil. And it's visually impressive. So, again, an all right start. I liked it better than Wheel of Time, but it's not grabbing me. It is the first hour of an 8-hour movie that is a slow burn, right?
There's just so much like fear it feels like coming from Amazon. If they had done like Stranger Things had done, where you give us the first 6 episodes now and then hold back 2. If you're worried about people like joining for Amazon Prime for a short period of time and watching it all and then just canceling it, then you can break it up like Stranger Things did. This is not enough to get me excited about this series.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they gave us one more episode, would have been enough? I don't know. Episode 2, going quickly. Sand moving. So we finally see the credit sequence, as a lot of shows are doing. They show the credit sequence. Second episode, did not like it. don't know if it doesn't really fucking matter, but I do want to make a comment that it's sand moving in line shapes. And then I'm thinking, oh, cool, it's going to, like, do it in the shape of, I don't know, the logo. But it doesn't. The font just bashes through whatever artistry they were doing there. And it's just not a good credit sequence.
And it's not Howard Shore's best work either. And I know that people online he did the music for the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And he did just the title music for this series.
Okay. I will say the music in this fucking series is fucking amazing. I think the music's fucking great. I think the music's working overtime in both episodes to try to make things bigger than they are, and it's just not reaching the level
the
of the
visuals
music.
and the music are like was kind of holding it up.
Yeah.
It's like it's Lord of the Rings,
and the rest of it is like
trying to catch up.
Wait for me.
Yeah.
Anyways, so Nori and Poppy find the dude, and I'm talking to Joe. I'm like, Joe, stop falling asleep. And Joe's like, it's time to ramp it up. But I'm like, Joe, it's the first episode of the story, that where a threat is
Should
not
be a
already,
hook.
but the threat is rising. It's not already attacking. So let give it a little bit more time. So the Harfoots save this guy in a cart, and we have some cute scenes and shit and comedy where he, rolling down the fucking hill. But I'm thinking, that's when I was thinking, oh shit, this is Gandalf. I'm thinking Gandalf as a name, as a layman in the Tolkien thing, and just making guesses. So because it's like coming from the sky, like Angel has kind of wizard-like powers. I was thinking it's
Pretty
Gandalf.
sure they all showed up on boats.
Oh, the wizards, yeah. Anyways, and I thought maybe because that might be why Gandalf has kind of an affinity for the hobbits in the future, because he makes a connection with the Harfoots in the past. Anyways, so then we go to Arondir, who finds a passage under the burning city and realizes that these might be enemies and orcs and stuff, and he must follow it. So then we get the Elrond and Forger scene, who basically is like, I would like to create this badass forge that can actually make powerful things instead of doing jewelry shit, okay? I want to do something important. And he's like, bro, you're going to need an army to make that kind of stuff. And he's like, our current king isn't going to give it to you. Why? I don't fucking know, since it's peacetime and there's no evil, but fine.
I think he said they needed more
than what he can
Yeah,
provide.
more
Okay,
than what
well,
he
how about allying with other races?
Also, I need it by spring. It's like, dude, you're
Yeah.
fucking,
Bro, what are you doing?
You're immortal. What do you mean you need it by spring?
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
He's
I got a
excited.
deadline. It's like, what do you
Well,
mean you got a
that's
deadline?
the show's deadline.
Yeah,
We
it's
got 8 episodes. We need to hurry this stuff up, and we need some way to get the elves and the dwarves together. And I'm glad that they did that, because
They
I
walked to
love the dwarves.
So Eregion and Khazad-dûm, it's not a fucking afternoon stroll between those two places, and he just like fucking they just like
Yeah,
walk up to
it's
the
like
mountain. They're
across
like,
the
hey,
street.
can I get in? It's just like, nuh-uh. Where's your supplies, bro? Like, what are you doing?
Exactly. It was across the street. Anyways, they want to build a force fast. They need outside help. The dwarves could possibly help them. So Durin is his friend from the past, and they don't want to grant him passage. They're like, no. No. I like that. So he invokes a right to Singin Tarog, and then they immediately let him in. I'm like, uh-oh, it's got to be a fight or something. The dwarves are into that stuff. And it was cool. It was really cool to see a dwarven city in its prime. That's one thing we lacked from the Peter Jackson trilogy, because by then they got fucked up. So a city not destroyed, not ravaged, really cool looking. And so they're basically saying, if you win this game, this is a game, basically, we're going to fucking break rocks. And whoever breaks rocks the best wins. If you win, you get a single boon. If you lose, you're banished forever from our fucking realm. So here we go, Elf. And they start breaking rocks, and we cut back to the Harfoots and the mysterious man. Now, I will give it this. I like the kindness of the Harfoots and the mystery of the man. It is intriguing. It is, if there's one thing I'm looking forward to knowing, it is, who is this man? Is it Gandalf? Where does he factor in everything coming up? Is he going to do some cool spells and help people? Or is he going to turn evil? And in fact, who is it? That's interesting to me. So little
Are you
seed
more
here.
interested in the mystery of the man, or just the heart?
Well, the Harfoots.
I like
one.
the Harfoots are being nice to him,
One
and
Harfoot.
they're
No one else.
developing a relationship.
Yeah.
Nori's an intriguing
like
character.
Nori.
So like the Harfoots at all would not they would just let him die. They leave
Right.
him there to die because they want nothing to do with this person as a group.
And he says Urimana. I don't know if any Tolkien people can tell me what the fuck that means.
Mana? Yeah, you need to cast spells.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Anyway, so father's foot snaps while he's working. One of the Harfoots, Nuri's father, and he can no longer migrate. So that's going to be an issue.
Yeah, because they don't have wheelbarrows to push
No.
really big, heavy
Oh.
men in. You know, like the little girl could do it. They're gonna have to kill him. They have to fucking kill him because they don't have wheels.
Dead weight.
Dumbasses, you're right. Galadriel is still swimming. That's it. No
Yes.
sharks. We do get a shark. She kind
As
of
soon as you said that, you're like, what? There's nothing in the
Yeah,
water?
and then here
No.
comes the water. It's a worm. Humans decide to bring her aboard this little drifting ship. They were previously attacked by a worm. Now, the looks can be deceiving, says a man who we don't know, who I believe will be deceiving. Now, he doesn't know that he's going to deceive, but he's going to. I feel this is Sauron. His name is Halbrand. Brand? Is it Halbrand or Halban? I don't know. If it's Brand, then that he's branded. How? And L equals lad. If you do it
Theories.
backwards, I don't.
It all adds up to 13.
But it was a pretty cool live action sequence of a sea monster attacking, and so that was great. Then we go back to the rock breaking scene, and honestly, Elrond can't keep up with the dwarf. I don't think any elf can really, so he gives in. And he says, you know, a dog may bark at the moon, don't mean the moon's going to move or come down. I liked it. I like Durin. I like
Yep.
him. I like their relationship. Reminds me a little Legolas and Gimli. So he asked for him. It's you got to leave. Would you at least escort me? So he gets what he wants anyway. He wants a little bit of talking to him. Got to talking to him. What's the big fucking deal? Durin has felt discarded in 20 years because in the life of an elf, that's a blink of an eye. But to Durin,
Has
it's like,
it been only 20 years?
Bro,
Only 20 years.
I thought you were my friend. You didn't show up for nothing. You know, fuck you.
I need more information here because I need to like know who the asshole is. Because if Durin's like, dude, I sent you letters, wedding invitation, and like
I thought he was gonna say something like that,
but he's just like, am I supposed to know that you knocked some non-bearded woman up? Like, who gives a shit?
That
She
would
doesn't
have been
a beard,
nice to
coward.
hear. Yeah, you ignored all my invitation. Then you would be mad at Elrond, and the series doesn't want you to be mad at Elrond. So, anyways, one apology. He says, "Let me apologize." He does it right then and appeals to his heart, which Durin is a good guy, and you could tell. So he's like, "All right, one apology. No staying for dinner, though." His wife is the dwarf that we've seen in the stuff, Disa, and I like Durin. And I like his little tykes. He got a little family and the little huge little helmets that running around. I was like, all right, man, this is a good part here. And he agrees to let him stay and explain. And then we go back to the water, and he has separated his boat from the others because everybody got fucked up in a cool little scene when they got eaten. And this guy explains, this mystery man explains that he is running from orcs. And I don't buy it. Or the Southland, or maybe the orcs are there, but he has something to do with it. God damn it! She
Especially his
explains the
necklace.
trouble, and the dude says, this is the human girl who the elf is falling in love with. She runs back and says, "Look, we found something at that city." They're like, "You have no proof. We don't care." It's like, God, I hate this shit. Without no proof. Go there, then you'll find
It's
proof.
because she likes elves. We don't trust her.
All right. And then this kid's pissed off because he can't sleep. The mice under the fucking boards.
Yeah, I don't like the kid. I hate everyone in this village. I hope they get skinned alive. I mean, like, I don't want to gloss over how fucking stupid this scene is.
Go ahead.
We live in a world where there was a massive war where you're currently in a police state that elves are looking over you because your ancestors sided with the fucking devil and his assholes. And someone
And if there's one thing the elves will do, it's they'll go and crush any orcs.
Yeah, and
like you have to live under the rule for one purpose. Go tell them.
So, like, this isn't...
But they left.
You're not walking over to a random dude and being like, hey, man, there's fucking orcs coming. You're walking to a people that are very intimately aware that the bad shit can happen in the world. And you're like, hey, that neighboring village we traded with, everyone there is dead. Everything is burned down, and the earth opened up and
You have
swallowed
no
them.
proof.
Fuck you.
The ground is loose
No
over
pudding.
there. Fuck
Landslide
off.
is what
Fuck
it
this
was.
lazy ass goddamn right. You could achieve the same results by saying, okay, we'll assemble a party on Tuesday.
Yeah.
You know, just something like, oh, but you're not taking it as serious.
Yeah.
We will.
Yeah.
And you can still achieve everything it achieved because the kid notices the floorboards. He thinks it's mice. He opens it up, little eyeball. He's like, what the fuck? And turns out that there is something coming after the elf under the ground. We go back to the elf. He's kind of spelunking, has to go swimming to get away from it. And
Hate
it
this
fucking grabs him, and it was a cool part. Anyways, like I said, that boy, we go back to the boy who's now hiding in the cover. There's scratch marks. Clearly, it is the scene of an orc attack. And then the orc jumps up, and we get a fight scene. Where she fights it, he helps fight it, stabs it with swords, stabs it with knives.
It's
and
a
all
very,
this shit.
very durable orc.
Yeah, and I like the fact that it kind of shows the power of a single orc, versus a human. You don't want. I mean, we just saw Gladriel fucking destroying a troll, and you're removing the urgency of like those kind of things. So just a measly tiny orc is a fucking vicious thing. You see those tiny little apes? Those things can rip humans' faces off. So an orc is a powerful thing, but they managed to overcome it, and she cuts its head off and plops it on the table. This is your fucking proof. They're like, oh, shit, all right, now we're going to leave.
Let's get out of here, guys.
So then we do the storm. We go back to the storm, and there's a storm brewing, so they're going to have to work together in order to get out of the storm. He ends up saving her as she falls in.
She ties herself to the mast because of the storm, but the second she does that, the mast gets hit by lightning, and then she falls down into the ocean, and he saves her.
Saves her, and then she offers her hand. So it's like a cooperation. They're trying to build something here for the eventual betrayal, as I think. Anyway, so the stranger and the firefly scene. So he wants to find a particular star constellation. He puts the fireflies in the kind of star constellation. They said, I don't know that particular one, but I know where to find it.
Yeah, the sky.
But then
Where else you can fucking find sky?
but then the fireflies die, so I don't know. Could be evil, could be the good. And then we get a scene of Durin going to his father, who is the king, and he's the prince, and he says the dwarves. Clearly, the dwarves know something that the elves don't. I'm thinking it's orcs. They know that orcs are underground or something because they're in the mountains. They were the first ones to get fucked up by orcs in Lord of the Rings. I don't know.
Usually with that, it's they find something really, really cool. They don't tell anyone about it, and they're worried about people coming in on their treasures. So
Okay, that makes more sense because then there's a
Yeah,
box
that's what I
that
thought.
opens.
Yeah,
The box is
Fiction.
open.
It's like
There's a
blue-
glow on their
blue
faces.
orb.
Yeah.
And so we got to figure that. So that's mystery number 3 then. Well, no, actually, that would be mystery number 4 if you count the broken sword. And Theo is the kid that has the sword, and it kind of repairs itself from some blood, and he's keeping it. So that's going to be a thing. So I guess the 3 mysteries are the Meteor Man, the human castaway, the dwarf item, and the sword.
And if the elf is going to go with the lady.
Sure, it's not a mystery.
If he's been stationed there for 79 years, he's been like, that's a long-term elf grooming. Like, come on.
I know, like, don't think about it too much, because I was like, wait, 79 years? She wasn't even,
Oh.
That's a cute baby.
No, don't.
Get out of here, elf.
Get out of here, you weirdo. I wrote here, great music, but the events so far have not lived up to the massively boisterous tracks. And then finally, a ship shows up and finds Gladriel and the mysterious man at sea. So, like I said, that episode a little better.
Yeah.
But for $1 billion show, kind of expected it to start a little bit more interestingly. There's 8 episodes in the first season, so we have 6 episodes left. Hopefully, it proves itself by then, and we'll be there for that, guys. Tell us what you thought about all the different aspects of the show. What would you rate episode 1 and 2? Are you encouraged? Are you tepid and just interested like we are? Or do you think it was the worst thing that you've ever seen? And I don't know. How dare they shit on the memory of Tolkien? So,
Well,
anyways.
Tolkien died September 3rd, and so they put it out just in time to destroy and murder his memory, in addition to the anniversary of his death.
We shall see.
You're welcome.
It wasn't that bad. At least not that debut.
Not yet.
We'll see what happens.
Totally get worse.
All right, guys. Thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you on the next Angry Joe show. Bye, guys.